Greetings, friends! Welcome back to the Messed Up Movies Podcast, the podcast celebrating movies and filmmakers that embrace the insane, the outrageous, the unhinged, the off-kilter, and the all-around kind of messed up fun you can't take your eyes off of. What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Griffey, and what's left of his voice from nothing cool, just existing. Joined as always by my friend, co-host, and egg enthusiast.
Oh, it's Alex Dandino. Griff, let me ask you something. Do you like a Japanese omelet?
Yes. I think I would love that, yes.
Well, if that's the case, you're going to love what we've got going on over on the Discord and in the Patreon. Now, guys, as always, please subscribe to the Messed Up Movies Patreon. For $1 a month, you get access to our Discord, a lot of other cool stuff. We have the Black Mirror podcast going on, Tales from the Griff, any of the exclusive episodes, and our huge back catalog, the size of a pot to cook broth in. It's just the best.
A lot of weird foodie things. I will take umbrage with the Japanese. I think if you just lay eggs on top of it, it's not an omelet anymore. It's more of a blanket.
That's the style. That's what it is.
Yeah. I think we defeated them.
It's not my fave. I think
America took that and made the omelet better.
It looks delicious, and
it does look fucking delicious.
It looks really good. Just not my thing.
All right, guys. We'll get into this. We're talking about, of course, today, Tampopo. So here's what we're going to do. Go to the YouTube. Subscribe to Misfit Parade's YouTube. Go to misfitparade.com so you can follow the making of our first cuisine-laden movie, Mr. Cream Jean's Hidey Hole. Actually, don't eat anything in Mr. Cream Jean's Hidey Hole.
Absolutely not.
Never eat in Mr. Cream Jean's Hidey Hole. That's not great. Also, if you guys would be so kind, let a friend know about the pod. Send them a Spotify episode. Send them a short, real clip. We're on all the social medias. We appreciate that. 5-star ratings and reviews are very helpful, and we love seeing those, too. Every time we get one, it's like broth to our wounded podcaster souls. Mm-hmm. But grassroots, guys, let a friend know. Send them a clip. Send them a TikTok, YouTube Shorts. They all have them now. We're there. That helps us out a ton. All right, we're here in June. My birth month. The last birthday gift from my brethren at the Misfit Parade to celebrate the birth of my month, the month of my birth. There you go. That's what I'm trying to say.
There you go.
Our last movie from my writing partner, fellow Misfit, co-writer of Mr. Cream Jean's Hidey Hole with me, Jonathan Holliday.
Yep.
One of my dearest friends. I've been friends with him for a long time. I met John. I first got to L.A., and he was going to L.A. Film School with my roommate I drove out from Indiana with. And they needed an actor, so I started acting in some of the LA Film School kids were just casting me in all these projects. Right. And I met John, and we've been friends for almost fucking 2 decades now, right? We write together, love John. I knew he would give me a weird gift, right? I was not prepared for Tampopo.
So I asked everyone to write a little spiel for you as to why they chose to give you the movie they gave you for your. I'd like for you to tell him initially that my choice for him is Pollock with Ed Harris.
That son of a bitch.
Because I feel Griffey embodies the same philosophies and energy as Jackson. After he gets pissed off and calls me a piece of shit, you can reveal my real pick for him.
He just got me down, motherfucker.
Is actually Tampopo. Because Griffey is someone who constantly reminds me of my ladder and encourages me to keep climbing. He embodies the spirit of this film, striving to master his craft, forming an unlikely community around a goal, enduring setbacks and obstacles only to become stronger. Also, the egg yolk scene.
Yes, that's very John. That. I think that's very sweet. Yeah. So I like this. I'm the trucker. I'm the cool hat trucker who just whips people's ass and smokes darts and criticizes people's food. That makes sense to me. I'm into that. I will say, watching this movie, I was like, I don't know if John remembers that the podcast is now called the Messed Up Movies Podcast. I was like, this feels sweet and light and maybe a little off kilter, but this is not what we do. Then we get to the gangster's amour, and you're like, oh, there it is. Everything that's happening with that guy, who I have no idea is why he's in the movie or what he is. We'll get to that later.
There's your messed up.
I had never actually seen this movie. So this was a first-time watch for me, which I always enjoy doing on the pod. I have to say, something about the place I've been for the last week or so, headspace-wise, and I think to John's point, I know you this, we're working really hard over here trying to, make something in the world, right? It's hard. You have setbacks. even when you laugh writing something, then you read it to the group and you're like, maybe this is the dumbest, worst thing I've ever done. You never fucking know, right? There's always this unease, this worry that it's not good enough or you won't achieve your goals, right? I adore most about this movie, right, is this complete commitment from two people, but then how a community springs up around them, right? The goal of this movie essentially is, how do I make the best bowl of ramen that I can? Right? The synopsis reads, a truck driver stops at a small family-run noodle shop and decides to help its fledgling business. The story is intertwined with various vignettes about the relationship of love and food. It kind of becomes, it's one of these movies, right? Like, I love this about a lot of cinema because it's just something I've never been able to do, right? It's just write something, right? Just this kind of like large poem about an idea or just life in general. This movie doesn't have a lot of propulsion. Even the pursuit of the ramen feels so secondary. But what I love about the movie is it is just this absolute love letter to even pick something, right? The dumbest fucking thing, making a bowl of ramen. To us, that seems inconsequential. I was like, I did that in college like 5 times a day. Watching these people talk poetically about what makes a good bowl of ramen, what we're supposed to feel, how you caress the ramen and you bring something to the bowl yourself. There's something about that I just found so fucking beautiful and absolutely loved and maybe needed, right? Maybe John's right. Maybe I needed a little bit of this in my life. What did you think on your first viewing of Tampopo? Which, by the way, one of the funnest movie titles.
Yeah. I loved it. I really, like, again, it's strange because I think what's like the messed upness. There are things that are certainly off kilter, I'd say. I'm not sure anything in this movie is actually messed up. It's more just
there's a thing that's definitely.
I mean, there's one thing, but it's not like so
we have a messed up moment, and that's it.
I mean, I already know what the messed up moment is, but I don't have to. This isn't a we're not sitting here examining how fucking gross this movie is or how like in terms of Japanese cinema too. This might be the most wholesome movie I've watched in a long time from a Japanese filmmaker. Like, I am used to a lot more off-kilter stuff. This is a really kind of beautiful thing. It's just like it's like a sort of this pursuit of happiness film. It's kind of strange. I liked it a lot.
That's a great way to put it, right? What it becomes is just this, whatever you do, wherever you are, give to it, right? Like if your job, like a lot of us, I think, we talk about jobs, like, fucking hate my job. I hate this. I hate that.
Many people.
All right. Well, like I have a guy who lives across the street from me, right? This middle-aged guy, or even a little older than us, right? Like he's like a group ahead of me, whatever, right? And just nice guy, right? They just live a normal family life. But this guy, every Sunday, he pulls out like a weed eater, 2 different lawnmowers. Like he's got this whole array of fucking tools and shit, right? And I watch him just go through this ritual every Sunday, almost like clockwork. And he just does his yard. And it is the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, right? And it's one of those, I'm just like, my kids are always like, we should do that. And I was like, fuck that, dude. I'm never going to be that dad who's like really into yard shit. I was like, I mow it so I don't get a letter from the HOA or whatever. And that's enough for me, right? Or so that we can find bears' piles of shit in the grass and not lose them, right? That's all I mow my yard for. That's it. And this guy, he just, with precision, with skill, like he really seems to love it. It seems to really be something he cherishes. And I think there's a part of us that can get really cynical and like, what a stupid fucking hobby. What a stupid thing. And I think that's what I need less of in my life, is just judging things as less than. But if you're going to give, there's something you have to do in life, why not give to it? Why not treat it as if you are in the... And I think there is a real spiritual benefit to people who embrace in processes, embrace in traditions, embrace in, all right, this is something I have to do. Why not try to do it well? Why not find joy in it? And I that really resonated with me in the course of this film.
So, okay, I want to ask this because I've known you almost.
We've also been friends for a long time. I think we've
also almost been friends for like 20 years.
Yeah.
I've never known you to jump to Japanese cuisine. So my question is, how often have you had this kind of ramen?
Never.
You've never had this style.
I've had American ramen, which I just assumed that we crushed and did better. No, this is the thing. This is another thing for me. I'm not a foodie. Like You're not
an adventurous eater for sure.
I'm not an adventurous eater. I don't like weird like pretension foods. Like
sure.
That's another thing I loved about this movie, because when it started with like the food, the first guy, the gangster in the first scene who's like got a buffet, and he walks over to this guy eating chips in the movie theater, and he's like, "Dude, if I hear that fucking crinkle during the cinema, I'm gonna fucking beat your ass." I was like, this guy's my hero.
The opening of this movie, legitimately, I was like, oh, this is why John picked it, because this is what it's like to sit in the theater with Griffey. Like,
I was like, I love this guy. The Church of Cinema, I'm down.
Absolutely.
Whatever. Then it cuts to food, and I was like, oh no, they're doing this is how you like paddle the ramen. Say thank you to the ramen. Say sorry to the ramen that you're going to disrupt it. And I was like, oh no. Like, these two truckers are reading a book about how to appreciate ramen and the best bowl ramen. Right. And I was like, the thing I loved about this, because to your point, I might be the most childlike eater of anyone you'll ever meet, right? I have a Cracker Barrel palate. I know exactly what I like, and I rarely deviate, right? Food is just not something I'm adventurous with. I think I am the embodiment of the America, right? Where what we've done is take food and reduce it and simplify it and make it trashy. Put it in pre-made packages. We've taken out the joy, the art, the expression. The flavors are chemically enhanced.
Oversimplification to that, but yes, sure.
That's how I eat, right?
Right.
What I like about this movie, because I was worried we were going to do one of these pretentious, like the menu, like this is important. Where like I see the menu and I'm like, none of that food is important. It's horseshit. It's nonsense.
This one isn't about the point of the menu, by the way.
Yeah, because ramen to me looks like it's Japanese fast food. I could be totally wrong. Like, I'm not versed in this cuisine. And I like that it's just a very common people food. They're not trying to get like Michelin stars. They're trying to make thing that normal people can come in and sit and have this bowl that just fills them with joy and enough to get through a day.
Okay, that was a great choice. That's what ramen is supposed to be. Like in my experience, like, look, there's a lot of ramen shops in LA because it's obvious. We have a lot of different foods.
LA is like, if you are a food person, LA is a great town.
LA is a good place because
everything
you can kind of go anywhere and find good stuff. But ramen shops are sort of everywhere, and I love going to. I do love ramen. Like, it is a really good like food.
Me and my kids have started eating white people sushi.
That's fine. White people sushi.
So like, we felt pretty worldly.
You should.
Pretty worldly.
Ramen though, ramen to me, the way they make ramen in this and the way ramen is presented in Tampopo is a lot like the pursuit of like the best mac and cheese, if you're gonna like translate it to American parlance. Like there's something about
Kraft
that
won and everyone else is chasing second.
Yeah, like everybody is just like, you're just trying to find the best. What's the best way to make Kraft? You know, the best way to like those kinds of things. That's what it's about. That like it, but you're right though. Like, it's that feeling of like that homeliness you're looking for a lot of the time. And even if it's a fast meal, like ramen can go down really fast and go down really slow. I don't know. Like, for me, it generally comes pretty quickly, and you're supposed to eat it fairly fast. Like, I like spicy noodles. Like, that's fine. I like a lot of Japanese food. I like a lot of Asian cuisine. So like, for me,
I was watching this and I was like, no wonder we beat them in WW2 though. Because like the portions on these guys are ridiculous. Like, what are we doing here? Like, how did that one drunkard get so big other than just drinking? Because like, these are not meals. Like, I saw that bowl of noodle. I was like, that's what you eat to warm up the slaughterhouse for the big meal that's coming. I was a little thrown off by that. I was like, I gotta have hearty carb.
Because you've not had this kind of ramen. You have to have this kind of ramen, then you'll understand it if you have this kind of ramen.
I'm telling you, when I fucking drink lemon water, I don't call that a meal, guys. This is why.
But ramen is not lemon water. You have to eat it. You'll have to have the experience of eating it, and then you will feel the fullness that you're supposed to feel.
Dude, it has the amount of pork of like a meatball. Like, I got to have flavor.
You have to experience it.
I got to have proteins.
You have to experience it. That's the whole point.
Like, I will say this movie made me very romantically interested. Rephrasing, because that makes it sound like I want to fuck ramen. which this movie seems to want to do
This
too.
comes up a lot in the movie, though. So to be fair,
But
that would make sense.
At a romantic level, I so appreciated the pursuit of this that I was like, I want to eat that ramen. This movie had a Studio Ghibli-like love of food.
Yeah. This had like a Studio Ghibli, like Ratatouille effect on me. I was like, oh, I want ramen now.
Ratatouille's a good... Yeah, those movies where like you see food on a screen and you're like... Almost like it's activating your full sensory array, and you're like, I want to be at that table. I want to eat this. This movie had that.
Absolutely.
I'm doubting in rural Indiana I can find someone who is as committed to ramen as this.
I'm gonna find ramen near you, and it's gonna.
Well, next time I come to visit you, we'll go to a good ramen shop in L.A. and then we'll come home and share an egg. But
that's fine. Okay, so gross, but also but like Goro and Gun, the truck drivers, which by the way, I don't know if you noticed this, Gun is Ken Watanabe, which just blew my mind.
So I read that on IMDb and I was like, really? I had no clue.
That is the youngest I've ever seen Ken Watanabe, and
like teenage like.
He's youth. It blew my mind. But I loved their whole unprompted, these guys come in and they're just like, oh, this is how ramen has to be. You're like, whoa. This is like the original foodies. These are the original,
this is the thing too.
These are the original Yelp reviewers.
Yeah, he's just like a chain-smoking truck driver, right? Like, why is this the guy? But it's like, again, even as a truck driver, right? Like, everyone kind of is at this place where it feels like the one guy is a waiter for a rich guy.
Yeah.
A town drunk, right? A homeless guy, a homeless teacher, essentially. And then truck drivers, these are people that all have what, you would consider like not a high lot station in life, right?
Sure.
But again, they're all committed to, I have to eat every day. Why not pursue something
why not it be great?
of value? Why not think about what I'm doing? I feel like so much for me, food is just reduced to, I got to shove stuff in the cram hole so that I feel full. And then that's it. That's all I want. I'm not looking for more. I like the idea of, all right, I have to eat. Most people eat 2 to 4 times a day, right? Sit down. Think about what you're doing. Where did this come from? What ingredients are in this, right? What is the variance between that's like the movie is essentially, they go from shop to shop and we see all these different ways that people make noodles. They make the broth. They do the pork, right? At one point, they go to the shop and the trucker and her are just fucking dressing these guys down. They come back the next morning and they can't make ramen yet. So the fucking guy, Goro's getting his ass beat. And then they're almost boil the lady's head in her shitty broth. And it's like, they're running around stealing secrets before they can even fucking make ramen, which I was like, you know what? Maybe you guys deserve that ass whipping. You know what I mean? It's kind of like 2 guys on a podcast that talk shit on movies that are dramatically better.
That might be one of my favorite wake up moments. She's dreaming her head's about to get boiled by ramen broth. She goes, oh my God. And then she wakes up and the ramen sucks. And you're like, there it is right there.
See, I think that was real. Go. I think that really happened.
Oh, no. I think it was a dream, straight up.
I thought that until the end when we go back to those guys' shop. And once Tampopo opens, they have no customers because they make shitty rubber noodles. And they use bad ingredients.
I think it's just because Tampopo's that good. That delicious.
Oh.
Okay. I want to say this. The Tampopo story, which carries us through the movie, very good. Very standard, very like solid, oddly American pacing. The thing that I like the most about
That's interesting. I did not feel that way. But yeah.
Oh, I feel like it's oddly American pacing in terms of like how you pace like this kind of movie, like the up and comers, There's something the thing that makes it very different is these odd cutscenes that essentially like they're
filled with vignettes,
nothing to do with the actual movie itself.
It has nothing to do with the story, but again, it's showing us how omnipresent food is in every person's life.
So, there's the group of businessmen who order off the French menu.
Yeah, that was the moment in the movie where I was like, uh-oh. Like, this scene is terrible.
I didn't understand. I had to read, like, why that was, like, odd or shocking in some ways. Like, oh, he's the
And then they just go to the ladies having brunch that are talking about, like, flatulence. And I was like, oh, no. Oh, no. But then it got bad by the end. Like my
They're
favorite
watching
vignette.
that guy.
Like what are some of your
watching that
favorites?
fat guy
Right?
eat spaghetti.
Yeah, my favorite vignette was the guy who's rushing home. Right?
Yeah.
He's running home, and his wife is dying. She's like on the floor, and he's like, "Wake up! You can't leave us. What are we gonna do without you?" He's like, "Sing."
Oh, that was
and then
very
he goes,
sweet.
"Wait, make us food." And this lady gets up like a fucking mummy, and she goes and whips up a meal. The doctor and the nurse don't leave; they're just sitting there. And so this guy and his kids, they're sitting there, and the wife brings out food. They pass out the bowls. They have their chopsticks. They're eating, and he's like, "Oh, it's so good." This woman just kind of has this beautiful smile, right? Mm-hmm. I get choked up watching her kids and her husband eat this thing she gave them, right? The last meal she'll give them. And she fucking drops dead right there. And there's like the girls start screaming and crying. The little son's in shock. And the husband's like, "Keep eating. This is the last of your mother's cooking." And there is something, I don't know about you, but like I love watching, my whole time I've had them, I love watching my kids eat food. Mm-hmm. Like there's something about that maybe as a parent that's like I'm giving them the thing they need to survive. I don't know what it is, but that one fucking like melted my heart. And I was like, it's such a beautiful microcosm of what this movie's about is food becomes a love, like a mother's love to a family, keeping them going. That one fucked me up, dude.
It's funny you say the thing, but it's funny you saying this about kids eating because Andrea worked yesterday, so Henry and I were home and he's like, Star Wars Fortnite came out, so he's just been like glued.
Yes,
to
this
TV.
is a big deal in my house too.
And I was like, "Bitch, you are stopping for like 10 minutes. You're eating food. Like we're gonna turn it off. Like we're gonna go out into the world today." Because he like had this massive meltdown. Like I was like, "This is way too much screen time. All this shit." I was like, "Let's have lunch, and then we'll go out into the world. We'll do our thing." He goes, "Okay, cool." So I made him like he likes peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I made him peanut butter and jelly sandwich, some Pringles, put it in a little tray for him. We sat down. And
See,
I did the
Japan,
same thing.
that's cuisine. That's cuisine.
But I did the same thing. Like I sat there and watched him eat this sandwich. And I don't even, like it's not this parental pride, like, oh, I fed my kid. Like that's not it at all. It's this, he's somehow amused and elated by like, even if he's not like smiling and eating, he's just shoving it in his mouth. You're like, there's something that's so primal about that. You're like,
yes, it's that you're seeing like he's doing the thing he needs to do to keep going, right? Like there's something about watching kids eat. And honestly, I've always been fascinated in movies. Like I go back to the Old Boy scene where he's eating the octopus, is like the tentacles rather. Yeah. There's something about watching any human being eat that is so fucking revealing. It's kind of like I feel like the two moments you really see a person are eating and sex, right? Which this movie's all about. Absolutely. There is a primal, like, biological prerogative that these things have to happen. And I think a lot of that, you see the kind of, like, extra things of life peeled out, right? Yeah. Like, I probably, if you watch me from a distance, I'm one of those guys, you're like, when is he breathing? Like, he's just fucking shoveling it in. And, you know, that's how it is. It's like, are you voracious? Do you savor it? I feel like you learn a lot about people. Like, even in restaurants, I love to kind of peer around. Yeah. And just see the different choices. Like, what did that person eat and how does it match what they look like? I think it's fascinating.
You and I, for many years, have had this conversation about, like, I know I eat way too fast. This is, like, a product of production. I think when you've worked in production long enough, like, you eat fast because you never know when you have to get up and never eat again for the day. So, like, I'm used to literally standing over a trash can eating and just, like as fast as humanly possible. So, like, the problem, and Andrea actually called me on I think when Henry was like 4, she was like, "Hey, you need to not eat fast in front of him because he's picking that up and he eats like as fast as possible to go back." I'm like, "Oh shit." But
we got life to live, dude. I'm not here writing poems about bowls of noodles, motherfucker. I got shit to do. Yeah, see, my kids have done the opposite. Hunter, to me, like, he always does that. Like, I always eat and finish first. Hunter always is then like, first, like, they don't even count me in the race anymore, right? It's like when you're playing a pickup game with your friends in the park, you don't go, Michael Jordan, then me, right? You just assume he's not on the board, right? And then my other son has gone the exact opposite. He's the slowest eater, and it makes me fucking furious. Because we try to not leave the family dinner and, like, ruin it, but I was like, dude, I don't have another 30 minutes to watch you fucking move that nugget around your plate, bitch. Eat it! And it's this weird, like, you can see the dynamics of our family. Yeah. At that fucking table.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know, there's something, again, I think what I appreciate about this movie is I don't have that kind of like artistic mind to create.
Sure.
And again, not like this is like an uncomprehendable piece of art, but what it is, I love movies that can so commit. And I feel like it's a much more foreign movie thing than American movies.
Very much.
Because here, to your point, we have a very kind of saves the catified movies over the last 20, 30 years. Like maybe in the 70s we were getting weirder stuff that was like more kind of interesting. Now I feel like almost every movie you see, you know the beats of the movie. You know what we're doing. You know where we're going. And there's a propulsion that has to happen, right? And I think, again, with food as well, I have been trained by this mass production machine, right? And it's like, you know, I want this now. Let's go. Movies like this that can just sit in it, right? Like the vignettes. If I like got this script as a reader, I think one of the first notes I would have given, because that was my job for a long time. I was just like a fucking reader for this this producer. The first note I would have given is like, you know, I like this scene with the old man who's pretending to be a professor who you think is going to get bilked out of money, but really he's robbing a guy.
Right.
And he gets arrested again and he wants one more bite at the apple, whatever, as it were. I think I'd be like, as cute as that may be, that doesn't make sense to add production cost. It does nothing to the story. Like, let's cut that out, right? The businessman dinner. Let's cut that out. I think it's one of those that you so obviously would start saying, these things don't matter. Let's cut them out. What this movie's saying is slow down. Look at the entire dish.
This is about
right?
the meal.
Are the chives the most important thing on top of the fucking ramen? No. But they're there for a reason. They're there for a flavor. And this movie doesn't forsake spending time in things that just add flavor. Even if you could take them out and the dish is still 98% as good, why take out the 2%? You know, and I appreciate that kind of meandering nature to this movie. It really is just about the stuff of life, right? And it has no kind of desire to rush through. Like when the two guys had their rematch and fight under the overpass, I was like, love that scene. Great fucking scene.
Yeah.
And then it's just two grown guys sitting there talking about fighting, and they kind of feel alive and like they've done something. They're exhausted. There's like a physical exhaustion thing which your body craves occasionally. And they're just kind of looking up at the clouds. And I was like, dude, that's like me and my brother when we were kids. We just fight till we couldn't and lay on the ground. And you just start laughing or talking and whatever. Like, why is that important to the story? Why couldn't he just come back and be like, I'm sorry I made an ass of myself. I'll help you redecorate the restaurant. Yeah. But again, there's something to that. It's telling us a lot about these people, right? Yeah. And the world they're in and the life they're in.
I think that food being the conduit for living life is such a fascinating, it's such again, there being like an A story essentially of Tampopo, and then the food being this like conduit of living for everybody else, whatever manner they choose. Again, even the guy who got his fucking tooth yanked, and they're like, "Oh my god, Jesus Christ.
Gangrene tooth?" Yeah.
Oof. Like even that one, you're like, "Oh man," and then they're like, "You can start with soft food." And he's just like quietly eating ice cream, and again, there's the little boy. I've never seen a carrot on a.
It's literally like a horse and a stick. Yeah.
Yeah. Never seen a carrot on a string before.
Those parents must be so shockingly stupid.
Yeah.
There is no better way to ensure your kid is going to get stuffed with sweets than to write a really condescending,
don't feed him sweets.
Piece of shit letter that's like, we're better parents than you. Don't do this. I was like, oh, dude, I'd be whipping Skittles at that kid immediately.
I would be like,
hey, have you ever had watermelon Sour Patch? You about to, right? You about to.
It was like, but again, like it's this
also
really
way to make them like, I don't know if Japan had the don't get into strangers with candy's van. This kid is now the most primed suspect to get into a stranger's van because of candy.
Yeah.
This is bad. Also, I was like, if you just have a mouthful of gangrene that stinks so bad you send professionals running for a window, maybe don't let someone else lick something you just licked.
Yeah,
that's
gross.
vile.
That's weird.
Yeah, I don't want gangrene ice cream. Neither here nor there.
I think, okay, look, we've beat around the bush enough. Let's talk about the main cutaway that I'm assuming why John wanted us to watch it, actually. Not just because this movie's kind of beautiful, but there is one thing that I'm sure John wanted us to talk about.
We'll get to this. Alex, what is the most messed up moment in Tampopo?
Oh, it's the egg yolk. These These, okay, so there's a couple that's exploring a la 9.5 Weeks eroticism with food. A woman is dipping her boobies in creams of sorts and letting slippery shrimp live, like, based on her stomach and stuff, which was real weird.
Yeah,
in her belly button. But the
because
grossest
he's, like,
thing,
sprinkling, like, salt and lemon on her tit, and then she dumps it into, like, this flour.
Yeah.
She's got shrimp on her. All this stuff, you're like, all right. Like, I've never really seen the connection between, like, food and having sex.
Not my thing.
Myself. The egg thing, though, so essentially they deep white an egg, right? Just have the yolk. Yeah. He dumps it in. He's like, oh. And then he, like, drools it into this girl's mouth. She's like, ah. She takes it. God. Then he shrinks, and she spits it back. They spit this thing back and forth. It's like when kids used to practice volleyball in high school, right? You're bumping the ball back and forth. I gotta say, just hot as shit. Like, for something that is, like, objectively repulsive to me as a person who's drank raw eggs because of Rocky, it's fucking hideous and disgusting. This was hot as shit.
Look, to each their own. I don't kink shame anybody. I got to tell you, it's the grossest thing I've ever seen.
I'm not saying this is my kink. I'm saying objectively, these people are doing more with their sex time than most of us.
I'm not saying that they're not experimenting, and that's cool.
Like a trucker who savors ramen, like they're really getting they're drinking deep from the marrow.
Passing an egg yolk back and forth is the grossest thing I've ever witnessed in a movie.
Hey, sometimes the good hugs are not the cleanest. They're gross, right? Sometimes you want some flavor. You want some fucking sensory input, right? That might be a little off-putting at first. But when blended together, very much like the yolk between two people's mouths, it creates magic.
It was
sex magic. Blood sugar sex magic, Alex.
I get the sensuality. I'm sure to certain observers it would seem incredibly sexy. Did not
also,
do it for me.
This is how much it is. On like the fourth pass, she just goes, ah, and gets weak in the knees and drools it out.
She finally,
and like passes out. I had to rewind it because this guy's a gangster. I went back and watched it 3 times because I was like, did he stab her? Was she a witness? Like, what happened?
Oh, see, I thought
she just literally collapsed from ecstasy.
Oh, see, I thought she was bummed because she broke the yolk in her mouth. I didn't think I was like, oh, she wanted one more go around. Dang.
I thought she was just like, the vapors, and just like got weak in the knees.
Look,
I think the drooling out egg yolk is not a hard to figure out symbolism.
That is no. I mean, this is pretty much on Front Street.
Yeah, that's the gagush, man. That's what was happening there. Get your tarps.
It's just so. I get it.
The other thing, because the only other moment I was like, you could compare for messed up moments, was when he seems to meet a girl who looks like she's 10 years old, coming out of the sea with an oyster. And he goes to, like, eat it right out of the thing. And I was like, ugh, how do people fucking eat these, like, booger animals?
I've done it.
And he, like, cuts his lip. And he's like, ah. Right? And then she's like, here, suck it out of my hand. And the blood drops on it. And they both look at it. And they're like, oh, my God, are we doing this? Is this the magic moment? He slurps it out of her hand. And then she just goes up and is like, and, like, licks the blood off his lip. Like she's the kid in that old Tootsie Pop cartoon commercial. How many licks does it take? And I was like, if she looked like she was 30, that would also be hot to me. You know what I mean? Like, there's something about it that was, like, very off-putting because of the youthful look.
Right.
But I was like, I don't know, man. Something about this, like, that's not a thing I've had, like the George Costanza having, like, a salami sandwich in the sack. I've never been to that stage. Those two things don't mingle for me much.
Nope.
This movie sold the shit out of it. The shit out of it.
All right, so you're saying, what, you and Amy are going to do ice cream sundaes in bed, or what's going on?
Well, I think we eat very different things, right? Like, I don't really want to pass back and forth diced tomatoes and stuff. Like, we got to find something. Maybe like a Salisbury steak chunk, you know what I mean?
Ooh, nice.
We both just ladle some fucking Salisbury gravy in our mouths and then go for it. Like, I could be in that.
That's kind of gross and sweet.
I told you about, like, the first Jerry Springer I ever saw?
You did, and it was...
So essentially, they had this woman who weighed easily 600 pounds. They rolled her in on a fucking pallet jack, and she's on like a fucking giant platter. and they just smother her in fucking Salisbury steak gravy.
Ugh.
And there's this little, like, methed out caricature you can imagine. He's got a little, like, fucking wife beater tank top on, a little, like, barely there mustache, and he just goes, "Oh my good God." And they're like, "Go at it," because that was his kink, was, like, morbidly obese women and, like, foods off them. And he just starts licking the gravy off of this giant lady's, like, love handle. And I remember watching, and I was like, how is this on TV? What am I seeing? Like, I was a young Midwestern boy, and I was like, something has changed. Something is different in me now. I can't escape it.
Okay. You saying that is like that episode of South Park where it's the rascal tipping episode. The bar's being lowered.
Tip assist!
Tip assist!
Candy corn Oreos!
You can just hear James Cameron trying to lift the bar. And it's just it's not gonna happen.
Dude, I don't know. I so enjoyed this.
This was a really lovely.
What were you feeling that moment? The final moment where she's like telling her kid, she's like, "If they drink all the broth, I've won." Right? Because we watch her go through so many iterations. Yeah. They start eating. They're eating fast. She's like freaking out. The light gets kind of blown out a couple times. Mm-hmm. It's like this. The whole of heaven opens.
I mean, I thought it was really sweet. Like it, because you
it's
know why?
So fucking sweet.
We were just talking about this. Like, it's like this like sports movie thing. You're just like, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Like that's like that. It's that thing.
You want it to happen.
You
want
it to happen.
You want it to happen.
You want it to happen. Like it is this like sort of. It's that Rocky, Rudy. All those sort of moments.
Again, it's not a world title. It's just a bowl of fucking
noodles.
It's
a bowl of noodles, but
again,
it's so
what it is
important.
she's kind of mastered her life.
She's the master.
And she's found something she loves to do and something that brings her joy. I thought it was so... Because it took me back to the scene when the homeless guys are waxing about food. And it's just this striking image of like people who look like they're hungry and don't know where their next meal is, sneaking into a kitchen. And this guy making a rice omelet for this kid and not being like, I'm starving, I'm going to eat, I'm famished. But him like taking time and nurturing and creating this thing, giving this gift to a child when he himself is probably hungry. The movie's just loaded with beautiful moments and images.
I love that this movie is about food being this great purveyor of life. Like it's not just pack it in, let's get out of here. And it's not about again, that whole the whole sequence with, because the master, the sensei is like a homeless guy. I love that idea though. Like, of course, the person who is the greatest at understanding texture and food is someone who has to sample possibly some of the worst of it. It's this really fascinating thing that is this really wonderful, beautiful like moment within a movie is the inversion of, it's not this haute cuisine guy. It's not.
It's one of those. It's like, how can you not be romantically attached to her achieving this goal? Right. I
like that so often in the movie, food, the pretension of food gets dismissed pretty quick. Like even the woman, the etiquette lesson, the woman's like, do not, if anybody hears you slurping, and there's this fat Italian guy just plowing spaghetti, and I'm like, yeah, dude, absolutely. Have you been in an Italian restaurant? If you hear people eating in an Italian restaurant, you're like, food's good. Food's for sure good.
Like, there's always one Italian guy bringing down the vibe no matter where you go.
It was so, like, I was like, this is a really funny, like, that. It's not about it being clever or smart or, like, being polite. Food is food because we all enjoy it together. I don't know.
Again, it's a thing we need to survive.
Does that really nicely.
But so often we forget that relationship to the cooking, the making. Like for a while, like during COVID, I picked up like making cinnamon rolls, right? Like just weird. Like it was one of those phases where you just started getting like weird shit you were doing. So like, I need something to make any of this matter. And there is something about processes and going through. And again, I thought another just incredible choice. I loved at the end when Goro's just like, we did it. He lights a dart. He kind of looks back at her. He doesn't stop because the movie does this. Like he sees her a couple times, like glowing, like, oh, he's going to be the new daddy. Yeah. Nope. He's just like, she did it. She doesn't need me anymore. I'm out, man. I'll see you when I need a meal. And he just leaves. Right. And I was like, there's something so beautiful about this epic romantic journey we've been on for the smallest goal. It's just like, he's done. He's off to the next thing. Right. He's off to spread the love of this to someone else who might need him, right? I thought it was such a cool choice to just dip. And then again, the movie ends on just, we kind of float up and we float down to this park, and the credits are just over a baby breastfeeding with a mom. And you're like, that's the movie.
That's the movie.
This life-giving interconnection of, we create the sustenance for the baby. We come into this world sucking the tit because, like, that's how we live. And there is this built-in, our nourishment attached to love. And this, I just thought it was great. I fucking loved it.
Very lovely.
One more question before we get out of here. Why did the gangster get so much screen time? What was going on with this? Because he's like the thumbnail I'd always seen for this movie. Like, it all felt like it was going to be that guy's movie. And then he just kind of gets shot at the end and talks about, like, I wanted to share boar intestine sausages with you. Like, I'm dead. Oops. He does weird sex stuff, almost beats a guy up in a movie theater and talks about intestine sausages and is just dead.
I thought about that, and I didn't know if he
I was like, is this supposed to be the kid when he grows up? Is there some kind of thing?
I thought about it, and maybe he, again, like, strictly from a production standpoint, I was like, is he the most famous person in this movie? Is that why they're promoting it that way?
Could
be.
But,
I mean, the other half of it, the other part of it, honestly, is like, you know, food eroticism. I mean, you know,
yeah.
Why would you not look for that guy in the movie?
It definitely adds a lot to the film, for certain.
It's certainly I don't know, dude. It's so gross to me.
It's like that fucking good joke we were doing on TikTok where it's like the Xbox thing pops up, new achievement unlocked, or new kink unlocked. And I was like, maybe, because they sold the shit out of it. I don't know. I'm guessing what John wanted me to take from this is just that it's hard when you make movies or you're screenwriting. It's hard to find a win. Yeah, it's hard to find a win too, right? Like, very rare. Like, if we do our very best and we could make a movie a year, think about how many hours and countless hours of work to, like, you know, once or twice you'll get like that we showed something for the first time feeling, which is great. But like when you send a screenplay out into the world, you're not getting like, it's not like when you crush a concert, right? Even as a cover band and some chicks in the corner like, hey, I better mouth that guy up. Nothing like that, right? And I think what it is if you're so focused on the goal, you will never be happy, right? It's like I tell my kids, like, if you just want to be rich, you'll never be the richest guy. Like, that's a life of just emptiness, right? But in this, what it's saying is every ingredient, every step in this process is a chance to really focus on just doing something as good as you can. And that's good for your soul to know that you are really, truly giving yourself over to the task, the project, the goal, right? There's something, because you know when you're like making something, you know when you're not working hard enough and it feels bad, right? And this is just like, even if it's a small thing, even if you vacuum your house, think about how you vacuum your house. Do it purposefully, right? I know John's very into purposeful living now. But I don't know. This was one of those, like, felt like a movie that could have gone south on me, but like I really enjoyed it.
I thought it was very beautiful.
That's it for Tampopo. Slurp the broth, baby. That's it for June. No more birthday gifts for me. Next month, July, it's summer, beaches. So we're doing horror movies set in hot summer or aquatic climes, right? So we got some good picks over there. We will let you know as soon as we do. You'll probably have a beautiful Sam Price insane promo to let you know the theme of the month. Lots of good stuff. Make sure you go to the Messed Up Movies Podcast Patreon so you can get more episodes of the show. You can get our mini-series we're working on. You can have a voice in the things that go into that library and those mini-series. That would mean the world to us. MisfitParade.com so you can keep track of our movie. Misfit Parade YouTube. We're on all the social media. We'd love 5-star ratings and reviews. More than anything, send a clip, a reel, a TikTok, an episode to a friend who loves movies and or ramen and or eroticism. And we'll take it from there. They can slurp us down.